Finding absolutely gorgeous picture books is one of my favorite things. However, at least where I'm from in the United States, it can be hard to find them. All too often, the imagery can look cheap and the stories don't have enough depth or richness to captivate the imagination of a child or anyone else for that matter. I know that I haven't seen all of the beautiful illustrated picture books that exist in the world, so help me find some more and let me know in the comments what your favorites are. In the meantime, here are my top 5, which was a really difficult decision to make. I made the decision mostly based off the ooh factor, where you want to just climb into the book and sink into the pictures. I also decided to go with books that have come in the 2000s. I feel like the past 20 years of picture books haven't been quite as rich as the books that I remember growing up with. However, I also feel like that's largely due to marketing. I don't think that we've had less beautiful books made. I just don't think we know about them as much as we used to. So I feel like these 5 books I'm going to share with you really should be more well-known. They should be totally mainstream because they are that incredible. It seems like due to a movement towards fast art, we've moved away from the type of slow art that really builds a beautiful picture book and illustration. So it seems like there's a lot of junk food literature out there. Whenever I hear of a child or an adult that doesn't like books, my first question always goes to what kind of quality of books have they been exposed to? Truly, cheap books with super fast art don't inspire imagination. They might even be marketed as something that helps kids learn or helps them learn to read even, but will they help a child to fall in love with books? Or will they help the child fall in love with learning? I don't think so. The other thing about the books I'll be showing you is that to make a gorgeous book like this, it is a slow process. This is slow art, and there's something so sacred and so special about art that takes time and how it lands differently for a reader. From making my own picture books and zines, I have the utmost respect for illustrators who find a way to take their time with bringing to life something really beautiful and special in their illustrations. Illustrations in picture books are so important, especially to spark a love of books and reading in a child. In this digital age where there is entertainment bombarding children and adults everywhere, I think it's more important than ever to expose children to truly beautiful books. Books that feel like treasures. Books that feel like doorways to another world. I also picked books from different art genres since I feel like a lot of the times the more realistic art is, the more mainstream calls it beautiful. But I think beauty can come in a lot of different illustration styles, potentially all different illustration styles. The other criteria I used was how meaty and magic the book was. I wanted to show stories and books that moved me, that I couldn't wait to share as soon as I had read them because I wanted to see someone else experience the journey of that book and story. The books I'll be sharing with you today are books that you could read aloud to younger children, or picture books that are perfect for older children, older readers, as well as adults and teenagers. I think there's a really timeless quality or ageless quality about a really special, beautiful book that it can appeal to readers of all ages. So let's get to it, and then be sure to stay to the end because the last book especially I think will blow your mind. The first book is Snow Leopard by Jackie Morris. Jackie Morris is one of my all-time favorite illustrators and authors. I could have easily chosen 5 of Jackie's book to fill up this entire video because her books are incredible, every single one of them. So just know she is definitely an illustrator and author to watch. First of all, this cover, the eyes just draw you right in. It is so vibrant and colorful and magical. This book is a must-have for any children or anyone in your life who loves cats, and especially big wild cats. The story is pure myth and magic. It's wonderful. It's about a snow leopard who finds and then protects a child who is in danger. The snow leopard then teaches the girl, and in the end, the girl actually becomes a snow leopard, just like her guide, and then is a protector as well. It's like a big circle of life experience. I think it's every child's dream to befriend a wild animal and then even to become one themselves. So this book is just pure joy and magic. The illustrations were done in watercolor, and I just love how stunning these paintings are and the magical mix of colors she uses. Jackie has this wonderful style where she uses a lot of watercolor textures, like sprinkling salt and dropping water into the paint to create so much visual interest in the imagery. She also fills up the page with her subjects. It's a really powerful way of bringing you right into the world of the book. The New York Times said about this book, vivid watercolor illustrations that meld ink brush abstraction and subtle detail into a gorgeous fantasy, and I couldn't agree more. The second book is The Real Boat by Marina Aromshtam and Victoria Semykina. Again, the cover is just so epic with how it's been printed and embossed. There's so much texture and depth immediately from the start. The story follows this darling paper boat who dreams of being a real boat, and yes, it is definite Velveteen Rabbit vibes in all the best ways. The paper boat goes on this grand adventure trying to get to the ocean, meeting frogs and fish and other boats until sinking in the ocean and being rescued by a diver and being given to a wise old captain who finally declares it a real boat. It is just so adorable and heart-melting. These illustrations were done with wonderful mixed media techniques. It's got an almost collage or paper cut feel to many of the pages, mixed with so many luscious textures. This book is pure eye candy. Every spread feels like a delightful surprise. I also adore how the illustrations really capture the vibe or even soul of the scene. There's something about this style of art that can almost feel more realistic because of how it can emote a feeling and mood so much more clearly. I love how there are scribbled or even crayon-looking textures throughout that are so reminiscent to a child's own art, but it's done so thoughtfully and respectfully, as if it's just speaking to the child in all of us in a language that only the young and innocent understand. The third book is The Storytellers Handbook by Elise Hurst. If it's any hint to how great this book is, Neil Gaiman, who was the author of the book Coraline, which was then turned into a movie that all of my children adore, wrote the foreword for this book. This is the only book I'm sharing with you today that doesn't have a written story included. The whole book is full of these incredible pictures of all sorts of magical and mythical places. It's meant to be a picture book that inspires you to create your own stories inspired by the imagery. As you look through the book, you can't help but feel your imagination spark. It is just pure magic. Elise created all the imagery in a pencil and ink kind of style that uses color really lightly watercolored into it. I love this because in many ways it's a more sophisticated and much deeper art style than I think a lot of children are used to seeing. There's something more earthy and even grungy about this illustration style that feels really bold and permission-giving to the imagination. The style also is a lot more realistic, so it makes all of these exotic, magical scenes feel more real. This is a beautiful book to inspire writers young and old. It's also such a beautiful escape. At any time, you could flip it open to any spread and find yourself whisked away to another world. I have so much respect for Elise gifting us with such a wide variety of imaginative possibilities in here. She found the creative goldmine within herself and mined it so we can all enjoy the treasures she uncovered. It is truly such a treasure trove of a book. The fourth book is Butterfly Child by Marc Majewski. Right away, this book melts my heart. Even just looking at the cover, I am obsessed. The story follows this sweet, masculine presenting little child who adores butterflies and works hard to create these incredibly beautiful wings for himself. He then goes out into the world and finds absolute pure joy wearing them. However, then other children tease him harshly and he decides to tear up his wings and walk away from what he loves. But then he's so sad that his dad steps up and helps him create new wings. It's really rare in children's books to see a dad as the primary parent figure, and it just adds even more charm to this already beautiful story. The art style is very playful and colorful, with Marc using a lot of gouache painting styles in the book. Here again, this art style lends itself well to the story and captures it in such a pure, innocent way, whereas if it were told with more realistic pictures, it just wouldn't hit your heart in the same way, I don't think. One thing I adore in the illustrations is the significant amount of detail in just about every image. You've got this whole meadow just chock full of flowers and colors. When you're in the boys' room, there's so much going on in the background. I also love when illustrators throw a side character like an animal in that's kind of got their own sub-story within just the pictures, and this adorable Dalmatian dog does just that. I can't recommend this precious book enough. And the fifth book is Frida by Sébastien Pérez and Benjamin Lacombe, another illustrator that I just adore. This is definitely a book for older readers, and if you're sensitive about a child seeing an unclothed human body, then this may not be the book for you either, or it might be one to wait on. This is definitely one of the most powerful picture books that I've ever experienced in my life. The cover has been printed on this type of cloth material, so it's got a really cool texture and luxurious feel to it. The story is about Frida Kahlo's life and art, but in a way that takes you into her story rather than speaking about it like a biography would. The words are very compelling, which helps you feel your way through the book. I really appreciate how this book brought up some really important discussions with my children about living with disabilities and chronic pain and sickness. It is definitely a book that can inspire a lot of compassion in the reader, while also inspiring us to see how our struggles and limitations can be part of our magic. Benjamin Lacombe has painted these luscious pictures, usually in gouache, which helps him get these lovely, rich tones and so much depth. He worked really hard to breathe life into Frida's existing work and did so in such a respectful and highly representational way, which I really appreciated also. As he says in the back, it was impossible to alter a single element of the composition without destroying its message. In addition to the paintings, the paper cutouts are absolutely pure magic. I really appreciated how they were part of how the journey of the story was woven together. For example, here you have the Illustrators version of Frida's painting, Diego on My Mind, that then merges into Frida's painting, still with Diego shown. But then in the final image, you see Diego holding her heart as if taken straight from the two Fridas themselves. Powerful. My all-time favorite section was where we see Frida fully dressed up in her beautiful traditional Mexican dress. Then in the next scene, see her stripped to just her cast around her ribcage and her prosthetic leg. And then in the final scene, you see those pieces on a museum shelf where you would see them today. Having seen some of these pieces in a museum myself, this scene really shook me. The entire book is an absolute treasure. So those are my all-time favorite books of the 2000s. Snow Leopard, The Real Boat, The Storyteller's Handbook, Butterfly Child, and Frida. Each of these books would make wonderful gifts and a beautiful addition to the books in your home. I hope you're feeling really inspired after so much tantalizing illustration. This is the power of beautiful illustration, especially in children's literature. Beauty is so healing to us. It uplifts us, it speaks to our soul, and it inspires us in a way that no other thing can. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't seen every picture book out there, so if you've got a gorgeous favorite of your own, be sure to let me know in the comments so that I can go hunt it down also. I'd also love to hear in the comments your reactions to any of the books that you've seen in this video too. Since I am obsessed with picture books, if you'd like to see other videos on some of the other books that I love as well, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to share my favorite books that can make you smile, my favorite books that teach a lesson, my favorite fairy tales. I could go on and on and on. There are so many incredible books out there, and this is the tiniest fraction of what's out there. Books are always a worthy endeavor. I think a gorgeously illustrated picture book can inspire the child in all of us, no matter our age. There's truly this sacred, special experience when someone is experiencing a really special book for the first time. I'm obsessed with it. Also, be sure to subscribe if you'd like to continue to have creative inspiration and really beautiful content showing up in your feed regularly. And if you'd like to experience some really creative, inspiring experiences online together, come join my community on Patreon or Substack. Thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to hear about your favorite books in the comments.